All right, guys, so we are on. Okay, so I'm going to start out like we did last time with just some announcements, you guys. First and foremost, before I go through all this stuff, couple things to get yourself prepared. So starting this Friday for the next 5 Fridays, okay? So it'll be this Friday and then 4 after that. So the next 5 Fridays. Four other leaders and I are each going to host a What is Coaching Zoom. Okay, so it's not going to be a group. It's going to be a live, kind of just like this, a live presentation. So you can invite people on it to hop on live and or send them the recording of that presentation afterwards. What we want to do is give you guys a chance to have different coaching stories, success stories, to be able to use with your coaching prospects. Because, you know, Allison and I have very different stories. Jamie Brown and I have very different stories. Brittany Wright and I have different stories. Megan Thomas and I have different stories. We all have you guys. So we're going to be grabbing you guys at different times as well, just not in the first 5 weeks. But we're going to be getting everyone's coaching stories so that you have a whole list of what is coaching stories that are 20 to 30 minutes or less that you can send to your prospects depending on the kind of person that they are. So if you have a nurse, you'll be able to send Megan Thomas's. If you have someone who has 4 children, you'll be able to send it to Brittany Wright's and so forth, okay? So make sure that you are getting people invited to that. Now the easy thing, you guys, is the link that you use to get on this Zoom. It's going to be the same Zoom link every single week for those coaching events. And they're going to be Fridays at 12 p.m. EST every single Friday starting this Friday. Okay, so we got that down. I'll have something in the New and Improved group to remind you, but just make sure you have that written out and you start inviting now. Okay. Second announcement, you guys, is that the team retreat is getting planned, okay? It's getting planned right now. Kirk and I are super excited. Let me make sure everyone's muted. But we are really, really, really excited about it, you guys. Him and I have been talking about it and brainstorming about it and coming up with different ideas and everything like that and how everyone's going to earn it. So we will be announcing it either by the end of this week, what the requirements are to earn the team retreat as well as what it's going to be, or the beginning of next week, okay, depending on, because he's a little more of a perfectionist than I am. He's like, let's get all this nailed down. And I'm like, let's tell him right now. So whoever wins, he might win that. We'll see. All right, so let's go through just some recognition really quick. Congrats to our top Success Club earners so far this month. We have, sorry guys, I'm going to make sure everyone's muted. I don't know why my Zoom is being a stinker. All right, so we have Janelle, Brandy, Meg, and Anna, all top Success Club earners, okay, for the month of September so far. And then I know quite a few of you guys have 8, so you're right there. You have 4, you have 2, you have 1, or you have 0. Wherever you're at, you guys, right now, do not count yourself out from earning Success Club this month. It's only September 24th. We have another 6 days. We have so much time, you guys. And like I've told you guys time and time and time again, you really have no control over who says yes and no. You have control over your action, okay? So hopefully you saw my post in the New and Improved group from Kate Schultes, okay? And she talks about she doesn't feel bad for you for getting no's. We all get no's, you guys. We all have no's. You have to be okay with that and know that they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to the opportunity. Okay, so, which is okay. Top recruiters, we got Janelle, we got Crystal. I see Crystal in here right here. And then Haley. They all have 3 coaches so far this month. Congratulations, you guys. And then rank advancements for the month. We've gone through this so far. I believe Megan Strobel is the new Emerald of the Week, as well as Casey. And then, you know, we have Blakely as Diamond, Crystal as Ruby, and then we have Allison, Kimberly, and Crystal as Emeralds as well. Congratulations, you guys. Now, if you're wondering where I'm getting these numbers, make sure you're looking in the New and Improved Important Team Predicted group. There's an announcement. Come on. An announcement that goes up every single Thursday that has a poll. It's super easy, you guys. Just write a reminder in your phone to say, okay, update poll, update poll, update poll. Because on that Thursday, we're going to look at, did you rank advance? We're going to look at that. Did you hit Emerald, Ruby, Start? These are new ranks, you guys, not like getting back to a rank. Did you sign up coaches? And so forth. Okay, so make sure you're voting on that poll so we know where you're at. All right, now I'm going to hand it over to Allison, and she's able to introduce our guest speaker.
All right. So our guest tonight, you guys, is like superwoman. Okay. I'm just going to start by saying she's 38 weeks pregnant, and she's showing up to this call for us. So thank you for hopping on and making sure that you're here to support her. So let me go over her stats real quick because I'm impressed with her. Okay. So she's been a coach for 4.5 years. Previous to coaching, she was teaching kindergarten. She did that for 6 years, and she actually retired herself at the age of 31. That's amazing, you guys. Okay. So she's coaching full time. She's got a little toddler at home. And like I said, she's got a baby on the way, and I'm sure that baby's going to be coming real soon. So I just think it's incredible that she's showing up for this and still hustling and still pushing despite all of that going on. Despite that stuff, she's also a Success Club starter. She was a Success Club legend. Now she's a Success Club All-Star. Oops, got to mix up. Success Club All-Star, Success Club legend, lifetime 2-star, but she has rank advanced 5 diamonds on her team. And she's also achieved team leader on that road to elite. So a lot of acknowledgments, just really just crushing life. So I'm going to stop babbling and hand it over to Brooke. She's going to share a little bit about getting over the fear of inviting. All right, we can't hear you. Meg, can you? There we go. Perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I was just saying thank you, Allison, for that awesome intro, and thank you guys for inviting me to be here, but also thank you for taking the time tonight to hear what I have to share with you. I'm going to go into a little bit more of my story, just to share a little bit more of my background, and then like Allison had said, I'm going to talk about getting over the fear of inviting. I feel like I was just going to say something and it totally just left my brain. I don't know. But let me share a little bit about my story. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Hopefully something that I share here tonight will resonate with you. Like I tell my team a lot. Oftentimes you'll hear similar things, but I think hearing it from somebody else or hearing it in a different context or a different perspective really will help, kind of like that light bulb go off. Like a lot of times with live events, we're often hearing similar things over and over, but something about the way the person says it or the person who's saying it and their background, hopefully something will, resonate with you tonight that you can kind of take away and apply to your business as soon as possible. So a little bit about me. Like Allison said, I have been a coach for almost I think it's almost 4.5 years next month. I did retire at the age of 31 from teaching. I'll go into my story in a second. I was a Success Club starter. If you are a newer coach or you're a coach bringing on new coaches, that's definitely something that you want to help your people strive for. Success Club starter is when you have consistently hit Success Club for your first three straight months as a coach. Beachbody lets you pick which month is your first month, but your first 3 consecutive months as a coach, and they give you a free ticket to Summit, which is just awesome. I mean, that's a great incentive in and of itself, but it's a great way to kind of gauge your business right from the get-go. It means you're truly rocking your business right from day one. I am a lifetime 2-star, but I do have 5 lifetime diamonds, and then I have my second business center that's really close, and I have my husband who's really close. It's difficult. We have to get all the stars to align in order to advance our team to at least 5 stars. So it's definitely something that we are working on right now. So like Allison had said, I'm going to try to make this the short version of my story. I was a kindergarten teacher for 6 years. I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher. It was just like something that like really burned in my belly. Like I just always knew I wanted to work with kids. I wanted to help change their lives, kind of help lay that foundation for them for their educational career. And so I went to school for 7 years for 4 years for undergrad, 3 years for grad. And when I got out, I got my first teaching job, and I was just over the moon ecstatic. At the time, my husband was my boyfriend at the time. and we had a dog. So I didn't have any real responsibilities yet. We didn't have a mortgage yet. I didn't have a lot of bills. We didn't have any kids. And so I was able to pour like my entire heart and soul into my career. And I didn't mind it because that's all I ever thought that I wanted. Like I wanted this job. I finally had it. I was willing to put in all of the time and all of the effort and way too much of my own money into my job because I'm a perfectionist. I'm so type A, and I just wanted to be the best teacher that I knew I could be. And so, like I said, it was fine at first. I didn't really have many responsibilities at home, so I would spend long days at school. I was often like the last car in the parking lot. It would be pitch dark, last car in the parking lot, and I'd be going home, and I'd still be going home with like bags of stuff to do when I got home. Like I'd be putting in another couple of hours when I got home. So if you can imagine, this resulted in less sleep because I was going to bed late, waking up early. Cooking was a thing of the past. Like my boyfriend at the time, we would eat whatever was kind of convenient, whatever was fast and easy. And working out was definitely not a priority. Ironically, it's funny because just months before this, right before I had gotten that teaching job, my boyfriend at the time, my husband now, and I completed P90X like to a T, like the original 60-minute P90X to a T. Like I measured every single teaspoon. Like it was amazing. And we got into the best shape that both of us had ever been in. And then fast forward a few months later, and I was letting that go totally out the window because I had finally gotten this job and I was so ecstatic about it. So fast forward a couple of years, I was fine with, pouring everything into my job, but being the planner that I am and like the type A type person that I am, I started thinking about the future. I don't remember the exact time, but I think we had gotten engaged. And so we started thinking about the future. And I was like, how am I ever going to be able to give the 150% of my time and energy, patience to my job and still have anything left for my own kids when I came home at night? Like I am serving like these 23 other people's kids. What about my own kids when I have them one day? And like I said, I'm like a perfectionist. I know a lot of people do it. I have a lot of mom friends who are also teachers. And what they've said is you kind of just do your best at school and you kind of do your best at home. And that just didn't sit right with me. It's a personal thing. I always knew I wanted to stay home with my kids one day. Sorry, I get out of breath really easily because like Allison said, I am 38 weeks pregnant. So I just have to remember to breathe sometimes. But I get really passionate and really fired up when I talk about my story. And so I knew something had to give, but I knew also that I couldn't just not work. Like me just not working once we had kids one day wasn't an option. We literally can't live off of my husband's income. So being the planner that I am, like if I want to have options down the road, like I wasn't even pregnant yet, but I have that vision for my life. I have that vision for my family and what I wanted my family's life to look like one day. I knew that something had to change. I didn't know that Beachbody was the answer yet. I just knew something had to happen. I knew that when I did have a kid one day, I didn't want to be in a position where I had to go back to work because of finances, or I had to go back to work for health insurance or something. I like to be in control. I'm a control freak. I never wanted to be in a position where there were outside circumstances controlling my life. And so all the while, I started thinking about this. I had been starting to watch my coach a little bit more closely. A lot of you can probably relate that you watched your coach for way too long before you became a coach yourself. That is like my one and only regret in this business. But again, timing is everything. And so I had been watching her. She actually, her sister, her brother, and both of her parents are in Beachbody. And so my husband went to high school with them. And so she was one of those people, like I knew her, but I didn't know her really well, but enough to be friends on Facebook. And her posts and her journey caught my attention. That's why it's really important to post authentically and to post consistently, because there are so many people watching you, even if you don't know it. So here she was like living this perfect life. Like this, she was living the life that I had always dreamed of. She was home with her kids, but she was clearly really happy. She was really healthy. She was really fit, and she was making an income. It was like everything I wanted, because what I realized was I wasn't running from teaching per se. I was running from the lack of freedom that teaching was providing. Like I still wanted to work. I love using my brain. I love having goals. I love connecting with other adults. But I didn't love that with teaching, I had to be someplace at a certain time. I had to show up to, for somebody else. I had to show up for somebody else's goals. Like I wanted to be, again, in control. And so it all kind of just came to a head one day. I was like, you know what? I want to think about working this business because I want to start something now and like build it up so that by the time I do have kids, again, I have some options. I'm not stuck in a certain place. And I also need to lose some weight. I want to get into better shape, kind of get into a better lifestyle like I had been before I had kids. And I thought back, like, when's the last time I was in really good shape? Oh yeah, right before I started this freaking career. Like I was in the best shape of my life, Shakeology and P90X. Like I need to do that again. So I was one of those dream, minus the waiting 2 years. I was one of those dream signups. Like I messaged her one day and I signed up, and I, as a challenger and as a coach at the same time. And I never looked back. I was coachable. I had no idea what I was doing, but I did what she told me to do. And so the short version of the end of my story is that I hustled. And so I got pregnant 4 months later, actually. And so here I was working full time, coaching part time, and literally growing a human. But I hustled because I had that vision, and my why was so freaking strong. And I had that emotional attachment to my why that I wanted to stay home with my kids. And now it was like a reality. Like I had this baby on the way, and I had to do something. My back was almost against the wall. Like I had to do something about it so that I had those options down the road, because I knew myself and I didn't want to put my kids in daycare. It's just not something I wanted to do. So like I had no choice. This was my plan A. There was no other plan B. And so, I cut back doing the extras because I knew teaching was no longer my plan A. So instead of pouring my all into that, I did enough to get by, and I spent the extra time working my business. And so I ended up taking a 16-month leave of absence. I knew in my heart I was never going back, but I couldn't really say it out loud to my husband or my parents. Like I needed to have been in a little bit more of a stable place financially before I could kind of say that out loud. So I took a 16-month leave of absence. Here I am, a brand new mom, still a partially new coach, not really 100% sure of what I'm doing with either job, but I did the best I could because I knew after having been home for 16 months, that would be even worse having to go back, kind of having a taste of what it would have been like to be home and then having to go back. I would have been miserable. So, and then here I am. So since my son was born, I haven't worked. Like I've been home with him since he was born, and that's my dream come true. Since then, we've moved into a bigger house. We built and moved into a bigger house, which allowed us to expand our family. And now here I am 38 weeks pregnant. And this pregnancy has been so much different than my first because I've been in control. I can rest when I want to. I can put my feet up when I want to. I decide to work when I want to. Like I don't have to push myself like I had to with my first pregnancy. There's just, this opportunity has been, such a blessing in so many different ways. So that's my story. You can tell I get really passionate, especially when it comes to my vision and my why. That's what I usually talk about. But tonight I wanted to talk about getting over the fear of inviting, because in order to get to a place in your business where you're seeing success, whatever that success means to you, you got to be inviting. So I'm going to talk about that more. If you guys have any questions, I see, there's the chat. I see some things going off in the chat. I have to remember to breathe. Yes, making it happen. If you guys have any questions, feel free to just unmute yourself. I love questions. I love for it to feel like a convo more than me just kind of spewing all this information at you. Okay, so getting over the fear of inviting. So when it comes to inviting, it is the bread and butter of this business. It's like the foundation of this business. I mean, there's a lot of things, but inviting is one of those income producing activities that's going to move your business forward. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why it's important, why it's not scary, how you can do it, making it a daily vital, and reaping the benefits of your invites every day. So I really feel that inviting is both a mindset and a mechanics. It's like you have to get yourself into the proper mindset of what it means to invite, what it doesn't mean to invite mentally, and kind of get over that fear that some of us have that holds us back from inviting in general, inviting enough people, inviting the right people. And then the other part is literally the mechanics of how to invite and like where to find those people and what you should be saying and that sort of thing. So it's kind of like a balance. So raise your hand if you can answer yes to any of these. Have you ever been nervous to send an invite because of one of the following? Number one, you're afraid of what someone will think of you. I've totally been there. We call them I think on our team we call them our chicken list or something, like your people that you're too chicken to invite, but sometimes you're surprised at what they say, but you're setting this like preconceived notion of what you think they're going to think of you. So been nervous to invite somebody because you're afraid of what they'll think of you. Number one, you're afraid because you may think that they'll think you're only trying to sell them something. Like, oh, I don't want to invite them because they're going to think I'm salesy. Or you're afraid of inviting the same person over and over, which I think statistics say like it takes like 7 times or something for someone to say yes. I'm sure I can't see all of you, but I'm sure all of us had said yes to at least one of those. If you truly want to help people, you have to get comfortable with getting uncomfortable. The more you do this, the more it's going to get comfortable. It's just going to, if inviting to you feels uncomfortable, it's probably because you haven't had that correct mindset with it yet. You haven't made that shift yet, that it's not about inviting somebody to buy something from you. It's not about inviting someone to, to buy something from you. Yeah, they're essentially buying something, but they're buying something so that they can start this lifelong journey with you. They're just buying the tools. But if you truly in your heart feel as though you are here to help people and your job starts when they purchase their challenge pack, then it's going to start to feel less and less uncomfortable and icky and weird. If you feel as though you are truly here to help them, they just need to, buy the tools to kind of get started on their journey. It's going to feel less uncomfortable. If you are inviting them to join you on this journey, if you're not on this journey, then it's going to feel uncomfortable. If you're not following the products and following the programs and using the products, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel inauthentic. But if you are being a product of the product, like we talk about, and you are on this journey, whether they say yes or not, like you're doing this no matter what, it's going to start to feel less and less uncomfortable because it's just a natural progression. You're falling in love with the products and the programs. You're sharing how this amazing experience has changed your life, and it just kind of comes natural. The next step is to invite people to join you, especially if they're people that you see in person and they are commenting on how you look, or commenting that you seem like you're in a happier mindset, or commenting that you have more energy, or people that are noticing that your posts on social media. It just kind of is going to come natural to invite them. Like, why wouldn't you want these friends and family members who are noticing the changes that you're making? Why wouldn't you want them to feel the same way too? You have to remember that most people are not going to say yes the first time they're invited. It's very, very uncommon for someone to say yes the first time. It's going to take people, especially if there's someone who started as a cold market person, who you're turning into a warm market person, they need the opportunity and the time to really see that you're the real deal. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there who are just looking to make their next sale, and then they're on to the next person. but so they need the time to, and the opportunity through your posts and your social media to see that you are really authentic and you are really, you have their best interest at heart. And they're going to learn that through your post by getting to know you and getting to know that you genuinely want to help them. You need to continue to invite them until the time is right for them. Like, you have to take the you part out of it. If someone is saying no, it's because the timing isn't right for them. Even if the timing is right for you, because you want to help them, you know you have the tools, you know they can be successful, it has to be right for them. People are counting on us to change their life. You know, when we change their life, we're changing everybody else's life around them too. I can't tell you how many times, like, I'll sign up a challenger who's, you know, most of my niche is moms, and they tell me a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road, like, this is amazing, I'm loving this, I actually tried this recipe and my kids ate it. Or I've been working out for 2 weeks at 5 a.m. and finally my husband, you know, decided to join me this morning. Like, once you change their life, it's just inevitable that you're going to start helping them change their loved ones' lives too. And then once they start feeling the results and getting more energy and being, you know, happier and healthier, they're, like I said, going to likely share it with other people. And then it's kind of like a domino effect. So get comfortable with getting uncomfortable. By choosing not to invite somebody, you're robbing them of the opportunity to change their life. Like, you cannot prejudge somebody. We have all been there. It does get easier, I think, the more you do it, but I will not lie. Like, I still get 4.5 years later, gets hung up on this sometimes. Like, you, especially like your chicken list people, like, you can't decide this isn't for somebody else just because of what they might think of you or whatever. You know, you're robbing them of the opportunity to change their life. If you truly, genuinely feel like this is a gift and you have this gift to give to other people, it's up to them if they want to accept this gift or not. You can't make that decision for them. So that's kind of like the mindset piece. Like, you have to get uncomfortable. You have to get comfortable with getting uncomfortable. You have to know that it's going to take people multiple times to be invited. You have to put yourself out there on social media and share the true, authentic you so that your people are going to be able to get to know you. And because when they can get to know you through your posts and your direct messages and stuff, that's when they're going to feel like they can start to trust you. And that's when they're going to decide that maybe they do want to join you because they've gotten to know you a little bit. So it's up to you to kind of be in that mindset of sharing consistently, sharing authentically, knowing that it's not about you. Like, when you invite, it's not about you, it's about them. It's not about how you feel inviting them. It's not about if you're comfortable inviting them. Your job this is our job as a coach. Our job is to invite people to this opportunity, and it's up to them to say yes or no. And if they judge you behind closed doors, who gives a crap? Because it's your job to put this opportunity in front of them, and it's their responsibility to whether they're going to say yes or no. The more you do it, the more comfortable it gets. And the more you just have to make sure you stay in that mindset that you're sharing and not selling. I know we've all heard that before, but it's true. So then this is more like the mechanics or the logistics of it. Like I said, people are going to join you once they've gotten the opportunity to get to know you. And one of the ways that they can get to know you is by doing stories. Story is like such a valuable tool in this business. When I started coaching, there was no such thing as stories. We were posting like 4, 5, 6 times a day. And that's how people got to know like the real us, because you were posting like anything and everything. Whereas now you can keep your feed, your storefront, kind of like I always tell my coaches to focus on the 5 things that make them them and really focus on that. And then your stories are the fun and silly and behind the scenes, day-to-day, everyday life that's really going to allow people to help, connect and get to know the real you. So every single day you should be sharing your workout clip, because fitness is a part of what makes you you and who you are in your story. but it's going to be confusing and a little bit strange if you're inviting people to join your virtual fit club, but you're never posting or sharing stories about fitness, So fitness, it's not going to be all of your newsfeed or all of your stories, but it needs to be a piece of it. So every day that you do work out, you want to post a workout clip. Post your products without the labels. Whether it's Shakeology, the Beach Bars, Energize, whatever. I'm definitely all about that curiosity marketing. And so when you are having a conversation with people, maybe they're going to ask you about that suspicious yellow drink that you drink every time before you work out. Or when you're helping people with a challenge pack and you want to talk to them about some of the other products, it's not going to totally be out of the blue. Like, I obviously talk to a lot of moms. Moms are usually pretty tired. So Energize comes up a lot in our conversations, and it's not totally random because I'm usually like, like that. You probably have seen that yellow drink that I drink, before I work out. Like, I would totally recommend it. Are you willing to give it a try? And you talk to them about why it would add value to their life. But that way it's not totally random because it's something that you use every day. It's something that you really enjoy, and it's something that you can talk about without being random. Something that will add value to this person you're speaking to. So like, I think she actually talked about it on the National Wake Up Call. What's today? Tuesday? Yesterday. Doing like polls and having your stories target your market. So like, I obviously have a lot of moms, so I talk a lot about mom stuff. But if I didn't have moms who followed me and I talked about mom stuff, like I probably wouldn't connect with a lot of these people, and I probably wouldn't have a lot of engagement on my polls or people answering my questions. So talking about value to the people that you're talking to. So know your market, know your niche. As long as you're adding people to your network that fit your niche and you are just being authentically yourself, because your market fits into your niche, it just will kind of make sense. Like I just naturally talk about mom stuff. I talk a lot about my baby coming and my son that I have, but it fits perfectly because I have a ton of moms, so they relate, and I get a lot of messages about, I like this, or what is this, or can you tell me more about this? It just kind of works. So you want to add value to people's lives, because if you're adding value, they're going to want to come back for more, and they're going to watch your story again the next day and the next day because they want to see what else they can gather from your stories. Talk to the camera. You can definitely share pictures and videos and all that fun boomerangs and all that fun stuff, but people are really going to get to know you when you talk to them, and you talk to them like they're your best friend. You don't want to talk to them like it's uncomfortable or they're a stranger. Talk to them like that you're just getting to, that you're really getting to know them and they're becoming one of your good friends. This way people can like really feel the real you. They can feel your vibe. They can hear your accent if you have one. They can just see your mannerisms, and it just really helps them make that connection and feel like they really know you. And then, of course, you want to talk about this business. I like to breadcrumb little pieces of the business here and there. Like if I'm doing what I call my nap time hustle, I'll show them exactly what I was able to do in the 90 minutes that my son was napping. When I was working out, I would always show the baby monitor to show moms like you can work out even when your baby is sleeping. Like you don't have to go to the gym to be able to work out. Just kind of breadcrumbing, just nonchalantly showing them that it is possible to do that. It's possible for them to do what I'm doing too. And this is how I'm making it work. Obviously, along with your stories comes posts. You want to be posting. Good idea to show the baby monitor. Yeah. Baby monitors. Perfect. It's like, see, I'm multitasking. Baby's sleeping and you can get it done. Because I have a lot of moms who will say, like, I don't have time. I'm like, okay, wake up 30 minutes earlier while the baby's sleeping. You're getting your workout done, and then you're done for the day. Just little ways you can breadcrumb here and there. So daily posts. Think of who you're attracted to. Think of who your niche is, like I said before. Who are you attracted to? Would you be attracted to, if you weren't already a coach, would you be attracted to somebody who vomits Beachbody, or someone who is more well-rounded and shares all aspects of themselves? And so that's what I tell my coaches all the time. You want to think of like the 5 things that make you who you are, and Beachbody /health/fitness is like one piece of the puzzle. Like health and fitness is one of mine. Coaching is one of mine. Being a mom, being pregnant, an ex-teacher. I talk about my anxiety a lot. So I have like 5 or 6 things that I'm pretty much focused on. And when I'm not sure what I should post about, I'll look at my Instagram feed and be like, okay, what have I posted about? What haven't I posted about recently? Like coaching, health and fitness, nutrition, being a teacher, having anxiety, being a mom. Like you want it to be well-rounded because you want people to see that you are a real person. And you're, because you're going to, whatever you put out, you're going to attract. So if you're trying to attract coaches, you don't want to post 24/7 about coaching because then people are going to think, well, in order to be a successful coach, you have to literally work 24/7 and I don't have time for that. You want to show people that you can make this business work in pockets of time. You want to show in terms of the fitness, you want, like I just said, you want to show how you can make it work by waking up 30 minutes earlier. You want to show that you are a real person, and there's so many different layers to you. And so there's different ways that people can connect with you, because when people can connect with you, they're going to learn that they can trust you, and that's when they're ultimately going to join you. Like I said, what you post about is what you attract. So think about what you're posting, think about who you're talking to, and make sure you're not posting too much of one thing, because then that might give someone the wrong impression of who you really are. Think of your brand and think of the top 5 things that make you you and post about it. So you have your stories, you have your posts, and then obviously you have private messages or email or however you decide to communicate with your prospects. So when you go to invite them, these are just some random little tips that I have. Make it a game, make it fun. Like, Haley Christian would say, I think a couple of years ago, she came out with her hashtag don't be a bitch, hit send. Like she would make it a game. She'd put on some rap music and for like 30 minutes, she would bust it out. Kate Schultz, I heard you guys talking about her. She's on our bigger team. She does her 62 invites a day in her notebook. Like whatever works for you, whatever system works for you. Listen to music like Haley does, set a timer, say, okay, I'm going to invite for 30 minutes and, run through them as fast as you can and see how many you get done. I like to set a number each day. And so that's just kind of what works for me. Different places you can get people to invite to, obviously, like your new likes or your new friends on Facebook. I do believe in, especially, I think Janae talked about it last week, forming and connecting and getting to know them. It's just the way the Instagram algorithms work now. People really want to connect with you before you're going to send them an invite. So, once you've kind of connected and gotten to know some of your new followers, new friends on Facebook, you can invite them. People who are watching your stories, I definitely do stories on Instagram and Facebook. And so it gives 2 pretty large pools of people that I can be inviting. Your general Facebook or Instagram follow list, or, followers or friends list. And then obviously people who are liking your posts. So you should never feel like you are at a loss of people to invite, because you have so many, if you're constantly adding to your network, even if you're a newer coach, if you're constantly adding to your network, you should have, plenty of people that you can invite each day. So making it fun and doing it this way will help you focus more on the timer and the game rather than what you're actually doing, if you're still in that mindset that inviting is a little bit uncomfortable. And like I said, the more you do it, the more it's going to become like, okay, this is no big deal. I have 10 invites to send today. I have 20 invites. I have 30 invites. And you're just going to get it done. It's just going to be a part of your daily activity just to do it and get it done. You're going to stop overthinking it. These are just some, invite examples that I've used in the past. I write, hey girl, just because that's in my script, but I always try to change it if I can see their name on their Instagram bio. I always try to make it a little bit more personal. And again, like I said, this is after I have connected with them and gotten to know them a little bit, and we've connected on something that we have in common, like being a mom or whatever. Hey, Sarah, I hope all is well. I just wanted to reach out and ask if you had any health and fitness plans for the fall and the winter. I have a few spots left in my Fall in Love with Yourself virtual fit club, and I'd love to tell you more about it if you're interested. So, short and sweet. And like I said, if you are sharing consistently in your stories and on your page, it shouldn't be totally random and strange that you're talking about health and fitness, because it should be obvious already to them that you're a coach or that you're at least in the health and fitness field. Not 100% about that, but they shouldn't be surprised. So it shouldn't feel uncomfortable for you to invite to them because you're sharing about it. They should know about what you do. And, you know, you've already kind of connected with them and had that connection that it's not weird and uncomfortable. Hey, Sarah, I just wanted to thank you for consistently following my journey. So this would be someone who's either liking your posts or watching your stories. Your support means the world to me, or means so much to me. I was wondering if you had any interest in jumping into my next virtual bootcamp. Short, sweet, you know, you don't have to go into all the details. You're just simply inviting them because they've shown an interest in what you're doing. This one's a little bit longer. Hey, Sarah, I've noticed you capturing glimpses of my stories. Thank you for supporting my journey. It means the world to me. I'm not sure if you'd be interested, but I'm having open enrollment for my next boot camp. I'm providing all the exercise and nutrition support. Is that something you might be interested in, or do you already have a routine working for you? So that kind of gives them an out too. So if they're not invited, so if they're invited and they're not interested, they might not necessarily ghost you. If you kind of give them the out, they might actually, even if they want to say no, they might actually still reply back. And then that gives you the opportunity to, you know, chat with them and kind of build a little bit of rapport, so that if you were to re-invite them a couple months down the road, you've kind of established that connection. So there's different ways around it. I change mine up all the time to keep it, you know, fun and exciting, but those are just a couple of examples. Keep it simple, connect, get to know them, and, you know, maybe change things up. If something's not working for you, try something new. There was a good time frame there that I had changed it up to use like the voice, video, text invites instead of just typing it out. I was doing video for a while there, and I just think, you know, sometimes that helps. I think especially if you're re-inviting somebody for a second or third time, changing it up could really make a difference if they respond back or not, rather than just always spewing like a text invite. I would do a personal invite. So I would do a different one for each person. It literally takes 30 seconds, but so that way you can personalize it, say their name so that they know you're not just recording it and sending it to 30 people. You know, try new things. When someone responds, I'll always say, like, you know, a lot of times my team will get hung up on like, okay, so someone said they might be interested, like what's next? They kind of freeze. And so my response almost 100% of the time is like, okay, great. There's actually a bunch of different options. Would it be okay if I asked you a few questions so I can get a better idea of how to help you best? That's like my segue into learning a little bit more about their goals, their current fitness and nutrition habits, and, you know, what their schedule looks like, you know, like answering these questions so that I can get to know them a little bit better. You can't assume that just because the 21 Day Fix is the program that you started with is that what everybody else will start with, because someone might be interested, but they are a regular gym goer. And so the 21 Day Fix might be too easy for them. Like you want to have this conversation with them. So not only can you get to know them, their schedule, their goals, their habits, but also it gives them the opportunity to see that you are genuinely interested in their journey and you are genuinely interested in helping them to the best of your ability. So it kind of goes back and forth. So I ask, these are pretty much the 4 questions I always ask. Can you tell me about your current fitness and nutrition habits? What, if anything, do you struggle with? And I'm waiting for their response, and we're having a conversation back and forth. It's not like I'm copying, pasting all 4, and then they're answering. We're going back and forth. We're using these 4 questions as a conversation starter. Have you ever tried following a scripted fitness and nutrition program before? If so, which ones? Do you think you could squeeze in a 30-minute workout from home most days? What would you say are your short-term and long-term health goals? And when they're responding back, you want to make sure that they're feeling validated. I always use feel, felt, found. This was a thing that came up years ago, and I still use it. So you want to talk to them about like how you have felt, you feel the same, what you know how they feel, you've felt the same way, and what you found is XYZ. So like, oh my God, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the same way before I started following these programs. I would literally go to the gym and do the same 3 machines because I had no clue what I was doing. And I always felt like people were staring at me. So what I found was that I do way better following these programs at home, no one watching, and I literally just follow a trainer and get results. Feel, felt, found. It just makes them, it makes them feel like they're not alone. It makes them feel like you genuinely understand what they're feeling. And even if you can't 100% relate, you can kind of schmooze it a little bit. Like I've definitely stretched the truth a little bit, or what I've done before too is if I can't relate, I'll talk about one of my teammates or another client I've had before who was in their same position. So they feel like they're not an outcast, like other people have struggled with the same thing that they've struggled with. But the good news is that there's a solution. You have the solution. So think about what are you really selling? You're not selling a challenge pack, although it may feel like that at first. You are selling the relationship, because part of what they're buying is you. Like if you truly feel like your job starts when they order, it's not going to feel uncomfortable. You're selling yourself, and they can't get that from going to the gym. They can't get the relationship with you from buying something off of P90X or getting it, burning the DVDs from a friend. Like they are part of what they're getting is the relationship with you to keep them supported, to answer their questions, to keep them accountable. That you can't buy elsewhere. So have that mentality that like what you're selling is really valuable because they can't get you anywhere else. We're also selling, we're selling the idea that to get intentional about what you're doing, I want you to get intentional about why you're doing this. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you coaching? Why are you inviting people to join you? Why are you excited to help this person? Think about how you could potentially change their life. And that's going to get you excited and less uncomfortable to invite them. Like you can't change their life. You can't help them reach their goals if you don't invite them first. So think about that and let that fuel you to invite every single day. Like the opportunity, inviting this person is giving you the opportunity to help them change their life. That's a really good feeling. When people do say yes, it's a good feeling. When people say yes and you've helped them on their journey and they come back to you 2 weeks later that they can fit into whatever, that's a really good feeling. Or they come back to you a couple weeks later and say that they were able to keep up with their kids playing outside and like they haven't been able to do that in 10 years. Like that's a really good feeling. Like remember that feeling, let that fuel you, and know that you can't possibly get to that point unless you invite them. You are not selling to people. You are simply extending the invite to something that has changed your life. Again, it's kind of cheesy, but it's sharing, not selling. Like if you are genuinely feeling like this is a gift that was given to you, who are you to not give that gift then to somebody else? Like it's changed your life and now you're giving them the opportunity to change their life. If you don't ask, the answer is always going to be no. It's just the way it is. If you don't ask somebody to join you, the answer is always no. And that's simply not going to help move your business forward. If you want the opportunity to help people, if you want the opportunity to build your team, you simply have to be inviting. There's just no way around it. Yes, form, but get to the invite. I have a lot of new coaches who get hung up on forming. They're like, okay, but then the conversation dies. How do I invite? Like that's your red flag to invite. Like if you're forming and you're talking to them about it, where they live and you're getting to know them. Like I talk to a lot of moms. Moms are always willing to talk about their kids and stuff. If the conversation dies, that's a time to invite them. Like it's not always going to be this perfect segue. Sometimes I'll try to make a segue like, oh, so, what do you do? If you ask them what they do, they're likely going to ask you what you do. And you can simply say, even if you don't coach full time, you can say, I'm a teacher during the day, and then part-time on the side, I'm actually a health and fitness coach. Like, do you have any health goals you're working on? Or if the conversation dies, my next message is usually like, hey, Sarah, thanks. So, I've loved connecting with you. Not sure if you've noticed, which they should notice if you are posting consistently, but you just kind of say it. Not sure if you've noticed, but I'm actually a virtual health coach, or I'm an online health coach. So I was just curious to ask if you had any health goals you're currently working on. That's pretty much like my go-to. And again, it doesn't really feel weird to say that because I am posting consistently, and they should already know that that's what I do. So it doesn't come as a surprise when I send them that message in their inbox. But if the conversation dies, just invite them or use some sort of segue to start talking about health and fitness. Health and fitness is not always going to just naturally come up in the conversation. You might have to put it there. Think about the idea that you might be inviting someone who needs this way more than you do. Like, you don't know other people's stories. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know their background. You don't know what they're struggling with. Like, imagine if you didn't invite somebody because you were nervous about what they were going to think of you, when this opportunity could really change their life for the better. Maybe they're in a really bad spot mentally. Maybe they're going through a really bad divorce. Maybe they're having a custody thing with their kids. And this is like this opportunity, not just the business, but the virtual fit clubs and the community and the motivation, the PD that we pour into it. Like, maybe this could really change their life, and you have no idea if you don't invite them. And then last but not least, but have fun with it. Like, you want to have fun because it is fun. When at the end of the day, when someone says yes and you help change their life, it is fun. And lastly, like, what's the alternative? If you don't invite, what's the alternative? You're not going to build your business. Like, that comes down to having a really strong why and a really strong vision. If you do have those two things and you have big, hairy, scary goals with your business, when it comes down to it, you have to invite them. Because otherwise you're not going to move your business forward. And that's all I got.
That was amazing. I took like 2 pages of notes. Let me check the chat.
Yeah.
Seeing like a lot of people that were relating to you, and a lot of people that related to those like the 3 questions that you asked us. So let me see here. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself. Okay, here's one. Do you invite people to wellness groups more often than to coaching, or is it a mixture of both?
No, it's like 100%. I should say 100%. It's like 90% to my challenge groups.
Okay.
Our team is big on Patrick Railman is our upline. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He is huge on his hashtag is like 5 best friends. So if you have 5 new best friends every month, you're getting to Success Club 10. You are giving those people like the absolute best experience ever. And it's just going to be that natural next step. If you're giving them this best experience, they're going to fall in love with the products and the programs, and they're just naturally going to want to pay it forward, and they're going to want to become a coach and help their friends and family. So not to say that I don't ever invite straight to coaching, but I would say majority of my people start as challengers first.
Okay, so I'm going to have a follow-up question for that. That is a really good analogy. I like that. Just find new best friends. But how long do you usually wait to invite them to coaching? Like, is it like a month-long process? You make sure they have a really good first month, or do you wait until they're getting visible results? Or is it just
so it's usually about the time that I want to have the conversation about having their Shakeology Home Direct and like getting the discount. Okay. So when I start, I always have a Post-it note that has my 3-week date. So as soon as somebody signs up, I write down their 3-week date, and that's when we start talking about how it would be a good idea for them to get the discount. So leading up to that 3-week date, you want to make sure that you are helping them set them up for success. So I have a welcome email. Obviously, I add them to my virtual fit club. I do a one-on-one call with all my new clients to get them set up with their meal plan, because I think a lot of people get hung up on the nutrition part. And you want to be just engaging with them, messaging them one-on-one, messaging them in a group, just really like helping them see success, so that when that 3-week date comes, they're like, hell yeah, I want to continue with this. And yeah, I want to get the discount. Why wouldn't I want to save money? And so usually I'll get them set up with that. And then, I don't know, maybe a week, 2 weeks later, or if they're showing signs that this is something they're kind of into already, I might say like, hey, look, since you're already a coach, you're technically a coach. Would you want to join my team page and kind of get an idea for what coaching is all about? Or, since you're already a coach, have you ever considered doing what I do and helping your friends and family? I know you're getting great results. Would you ever have any interest in helping your friends and family? Like I work it in there somehow.
Okay. I think that's like a really good method. I think a lot of our team is afraid to invite to coaching. So I think if you guys approach it that way and really just focus on giving them a good experience, I know Meg does this too, but it's not as scary, I guess, to invite them to coaching if they've already had that experience with you and you've already like helped them, I guess, like feel better.
Yeah. And then they're just seeing what you're doing. Again, you're going to attract what you put out. So if you are being a product of the product yourself and you're just being their cheerleader and they can see that that's essentially what coaching is helping other people on their journey, it's like, why wouldn't I want to do that? And I make sure that they know that I'll help them help their people. It's not like I'm going to kind of throw them to the wolves, in order to help their people, that we can do it together.
Awesome. Do you guys have any other questions? Really, everyone just like loved your presentation. That's the overall. So that was super helpful.
The FORM acronym is, I think it's Family, Occupation, Recreation.
Okay. What does the M stand for? I was actually thinking about that too, and I was like, oh, shoot.
It's like the message. Like in the message,
Okay.
You're talking about family, occupation, recreation. I mean, you don't have to stick to just that, but as a mom, I always talk about our kids because I think a lot of moms just want to talk about their kids or like your dogs or whatever, whatever your tribe is. If you genuinely just kind of see it as making new connections and making new friends, it's like I'm just making new mom friends. And so we're just naturally going to talk about our kids and, what we do. And it just kind of flows.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. I don't see any more questions. This is the last chance, you guys. Don't be shy.
If you guys have any follow-up questions, feel free to, send me a friend request, send me a message. I'm happy to chat with you more.
All right. Well, I don't see any, but thank you so much for hopping